debut, he's posing up an absolute storm. He's got his owners and fans looking on, and he knows what it's all about. We're seeing him now for the third time here in Australia. The biggest difference that I've noticed in him is that he's just started to really settle. The pennies dropped. He's figuring out what it all is. The first time that he was here, I was just having a chat to his strapper Tilly. She said he was just sort of starry-eyed. He was pouring when he was in the stalls, and you will notice when he gets out into the yard that he does sort of puff himself up a little bit and like to know that he's there. He likes to have his presence felt. So, but in terms of the way that he is here today, he's just conserving all his energy. Each time I've seen him, he's just improved that little bit, and today is no different. He's our short price favourite, but the way that he's been going, he warrants it.
Tip against the favourite here just fine. I know he's failed at 3 attempts at this distance back home in England, but his form in Australia would suggest he's one of the rising, staying stars on the scene. And although he's odds on, he's clearly the horse to beat. I think the value, if it's to be found, is Mr. Waterville. I love the way he savaged the line at Rose Hill last week, and he looks good for the Quinella.
$1.80 with Tab, just fine. The favourite, dismounting out for Harvey Norman for all you need in furniture, bedding, electrical and technology. Here's Navajo Pete, the Chelmsford winner. Chad Schofield, David Payne.
Yeah, they're going to try and ride him further forward. That's when they had the success in the Chelmsford. So, look, he's winning 2 starts back. Look, he wasn't as effective on a drier track last time. I reckon this track's still got a little bit of give in it. It's not too bad. He'll perform better.
4th up there, you know, he's at his peak now. He looks really fit. He looks actually quite bright in the yard. I thought he was going to be a little bit lacklustre getting up over the 2,400 metres. I thought he'd be a little bit more sedate, but he's quite bright.
Cleveland, another one going forward. Damien Oliver, Chris Lees.
Yeah, forward with a set of blinkers on today. So nothing went right at Newcastle. He was set a big task after dragging back from the wide draw. So appears a target race for him, and I'm expecting big improvement.
Yeah, he looks really good in the yard. He's good to go today. He's rock hard fit. There's no improvement left in him. Having no luck up there at Newcastle, was too far back, had too much work to do. But we've ridden forward and the blinkers go on.
Major Bill, the Derby winner. Tim Clark for gain, Adrian.
Yeah, that was his only run of the track and distance, the Derby too. So the map appears great for him today. He'll be ready to pounce if the favourite makes a mistake. No knock at all.
He's another one that's walking out really, really well. He's really bright. He's obviously very forward, very fit, but he's looking really good. He's quite sharp walking around the yard.
Next is Bois d'Argent. Annabelle Neesham trains. Dylan Gibbons the rider.
Yep, he's been around the mark at his past 4 starts. He gets weight relief today. He's a place chance.
I like this horse. He always comes in the yard. He's always a horse, and he never carries a lot of condition, but he always looks really, really healthy. He's got the dapples up over his bum there, and he should get a nice enough run from barrier 10.
Man's Voice, Chris Waller, Michael D.
I thought he was good first up, then the sprinting edge off him at 2,000 metres second up, so he's in the right stable to improve at this distance.
He's another one that's really come on in the coat since his last run here. He's still had a little bit of that long hair, wispy long hair, but today he's presented in the yard. He's really glowing and looks really healthy.
We go then to Spirit Ridge, a 40-1 chance. Annabelle Neesham, Regan Bayliss.
Well, he makes his own luck riding the speed, and he's placed at his past 4 starts. So I thought he was pretty good at Newcastle. So he's amongst that pack behind the leading couple here.
He had everything sort of go his way last time out up there at Newcastle. Still a little bit tricky today. He's got a nice light weight, and he does look good in the yard.
Here's Ho Ho Khan. Taylor Hope rides for Mitch Friedman at Ballarat.
Yeah, there's not many 9-year-old stallions walking or still racing, but he did run 4th on the Australian Cup earlier this year. He's had his 3 runs back. He's got strong 1.5 sort of form, so I'm finding it hard to line him up, but he's obviously been set for this.
First time I've seen him in the flesh, when he walked in the yard, he looks like a real sprinting type. He's really thick. He's thick set. He just looks like a proper sprinter, but he's really healthy. He's really forward. He's very fit. I couldn't fault him.
Now we go to Callapore, Kerry McAvoy, Chris Lees.
I thought he was very good considering circumstances in the Newcastle Cup. Another one dragged back from the wide draw and just had far too much to do. So I think from a better draw here, further forward, he's going really well.
Yeah, he looks nice enough. He's just starting to sweat up there behind the saddle cloth a little bit. Not noticeable that much, but he's a nice enough horse. He looks very forward.
Okay, Torrens, Jenny Duggan on for Mark Chevalier.
Well, at his 2 runs back, you'd just say no, but then you look at what he's done at this Randwick 1.5 in the past. He's just improved 20 lengths every time he's been to it, so that's the case you can make for him if you want to make one.
Yeah, if he could forget about his first 2 runs and just go off his previous form, and on looks today, he definitely on looks he's a pass for me. He looks great. He's got 52 kilos, and yeah, again he looks like he's in good form walking around the yard here.
Here's Benno, Jamie Carr with a ride for John O'Shea.
Yep, found his form. He does have that form around the favourite here from last start just fine, and the lovely draw. I think there'll be one instruction: just don't leave this favourite's back, and if he stubs his toe, you'll be ready to pounce.
Yeah, I think the draw's a big plus also. No weight, good draw, and he's in good form, this horse. He's always promised to be a good horse, and I think he might have just found his right form.
The Wyong Cup winner followed around by the Newcastle Cup winner, Military Mission, Zach Lloyd for Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott.
Yeah, he's one of my old favourites. I thought he did a great job at Newcastle. They decided to ride him a little quieter that day. Usually he's chipping away on speed, and he really reacted to it. Can't say no.
Yeah, he looks nice enough in the yard. He's a horse. I'm not going to say he took good improvement out of his run over the Newcastle Cup trip, 2300, but he just looks, he's good, he's bright. He looks good again to go today.
Here's the favourite, the odds-on favourite, $1.80, just fine. Rachel King on for Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott.
Yeah, well, he's the new kid on the block. He's looked the part winning in fast time at his past 2. He's only 2 Aussie starts, so just has to run the 2400 right out, and it could be bye-bye again.
Yeah, he's solid 2 first up runs. You'd think he just had the edge taken off him, but he's walked in the enclosure. He's still really, really bright, doing his normal parade. He's up on his toe. He's jig-jogging around, but he's got no dents in his armour after the first 2 runs, so I expect him to be very hard to beat.
Aloe Beer, number 15, Jay Ford takes over today. Chris Waller.
Yeah, I think the backup will suit him. He's the horse I'm wary of coming here and poking the tongue out of everyone. I just thought he's a little fresh last week in mid stages of that race. That'll just knock the edge off him here, and he's got a definite place chance, this horse.
It looks like it has, Ronnie. I couldn't agree more. I thought he just raced in patches last time. He was up on the bridle and then he dropped the bridle. So he looks a little bit more sedate in the enclosure today, where he walked in, he was up on his toe, but he looks really relaxed today.
Here's another backup, Mr. Waterville, Tyler Schiller, Chris Waller.
He just needs an evenly run 1.5 miles to run well, this horse. I think he's got to pass a few 1.5 mile clauses in the last 12 months of running the first 3 or 4 here to kick one of the boxes to qualify himself, and that's what he's here to do.
He should get a soft enough run from that barrier. He's quite edgy. He's up on the toe, but a fair bit of crowd yelling going on, so it might be stirring him up a little bit. I've never noticed him like that before, but he's getting quite edgy.
He just headbutted the plastic rail. That wouldn't have hurt.
You'd be right.
Now, Kathy O'Hara looking for the big Group 1 double, the Epsom Metrop. She's on Wineglass Bay here again for Chris Waller.
Yep, racing well. Had his chance at Newcastle. Probably just outstayed the last bit at Newcastle. That was the most concerns I've got here.
I thought I was at Luna Park when I seen Kathy there smiling as she was about to walk down the tunnel. No, he looked good in the enclosure, this horse. He's drawn good, he's got low weight on his back, and he's in good form.
As you'd expect, Corey, all the horses looking absolutely fantastic. Another hard parade.
It was a very hard parade, but I ended up coming up with just fine. His wins have been too good. I was waiting to see a few dints in his armour after those first 2 hard runs that he's had, but he looked every bit as good as his first 2, and he was just up on the toe. I love it.
I'm with Manzois here. I've always loved this horse. I've been waiting for him to reach his peak, and he's at his peak now, 3rd up into the race. So I'm with Manzois, and Corey's with the favourite, Just Fine.
I am 14, 17, 12 and 3. Could it be Ladies' Day? Kathy O'Hara, Rachel King, the 2 big Group 1 double here, and it's got a very good chance with Just Fine here. I think Mr. Waterville, although he's still probably a run or 2 off peaking, I think he's got a bit of a quality as a stayer, this fella. 12 Benno, it finds a good position in the run, and Cleveland is best to the rest, although I was tempted to throw my old mate Alabir in. 14, 17, 12 and 3.
Super solid, this favourite here, Just Fine. $1.80 with tab.com.au. The way things are trending, I think that might even start shorter. We're just sitting with the NOP there at the $1.80. We're kind of sitting on the fence a little bit. We've laid him for plenty in the futures. He looks really hard to beat here. He's beaten the handicapper, barrier 2. He ticks a lot of boxes. So we're just somewhat sitting on the fence here. Mr. Waterville, the second pick, starting to get a little bit easy. Didn't parade that well. It's been $8.50 out to $10. I think he may even start longer. Benno's been $8.50 out to $12 today as well. Firms today for Major Bill, 15 into 14. Cleveland, 21 into 16. Alabir, 21 into 19. And Military Mission, 31 into 21. So the favourite solid. The second two picks are pretty easy, and firms for a few at longer odds. 180 a favourite. I can't see it starting longer.
Okay, thanks, Tim. We might go to Ali Mosley. I'm just walking up through the race with Adrian Bott. We're just discussing Everest moves. He's begging Jerry to take the deal with Hawaii 5-0, and he has recommended to Yulong that they run alcohol-free. So it's up to them now, but he's happy with both of them. Let's get to Ali behind the gates for the Metrop.
Yeah, the wind's just picked up here as well, actually, so my ribbons are sort of blowing everywhere at the moment, but the horses have cantered past me and I've been able to have a good look at them. I thought Benno and Jamie Carr looked like they were getting along really well. He was just working beautifully underneath her as he cantered past me, making his way through his paces. He's really found his form again this prep, so he's one that I'm going to watch, but it's hard to fault Just Fine. I know there's that query with him stepping up to this trip, but he's done everything right so far since we've seen him in Australia. He sort of knows he's a bit of a star. I think he's just propped himself up there at the moment, but him and Rach get along well. Also, with no weight on his back, he's come on beautifully. He's just cleaned up in his coat as well, so that's a tick for him. Mr. Waterville, who was perhaps a little bit naughty in the yard, just has the vet having a look at him at the moment, just making sure there's nothing going on there, whether he's got a little cut on his head, I think, from what had happened there before, and he's not loving the fact that they're playing with his face at the moment, but it looks like all should be well, but we'll just keep you updated as I keep an eye on that. Bois d'Argent, this is a horse who's sort of been a real standout since he's come out here to Australia, and he's sort of been off the boil a little bit, but the way that he presents out here the back today is similarly reminiscent of when I saw him last preparation when he came out and won in Australia really early on. Torrens I can give a good push for as well. I know we spoke about him and how well he goes when he's at Randwick. He's just a big, strong, beautiful horse. He is, of course, a horse and entire, but he does everything right. He's always on his best behaviour. Major Bill, it's hard to fault him. He's just such a great galloper and so consistent. Ever the Gentleman does everything right. And then the other one I wanted to make mention of is Calipor. I just love the way that he was moving through his gears as he came past me. He just was working really beautifully, so he gets the tick. And Alabir on the backup, it's taken nothing out of him. In fact, if anything, I would say he's a little bit more switched on today. You can see that he's just starting to sort of rev up a little bit, and we do have the crowd just starting to yell at us now. So actually they've probably been yelling the whole time, but they're just starting to ramp up as they load away.
Okay, thank you. Here's Just Fine. So far, the find of the early spring. Can he keep it going? What price now? Still...
That 180's gone, 180 into 175, and we are the last of the 175. Best price anywhere at $1.75.
Oh, they love him, Ronnie.
Boy, this is a big go in a feature race, isn't it? $1.75. Well, we'll see if it's justified, and it could be the next big thing if he can put a gap in this field.
Yep, we're just talking here with a few at the winning post. Has Rachel King rides the favourite here? Has there ever been, and the answer's no, two females ride a Group 1 winner on the one program?
And two big featured Group 1 double too.
That's right. So Rachel King holds the greatest chance of that happening with the odds-on favourite. $1.75 Just Fine in the Metro.
And there's the light. A mile and a half ahead of them. And they're off in the Metropolitan. And jumping quite well, the favourite Just Fine with Benno the inside. Now a bit of speed wide out, Spirit Ridge going forward. Navajo Peak pretty handy as well. Then Major Bill and Wineglass Bay. Just behind them is Carla Poor from Torrens. Cleveland out very deep in a tricky spot. Manzois up the fence from Alabir. Bois d'Argent, Ho-Ho Calm, Military Mission wide. And Mr. Waterville had flopped back to a clear last. Spirit Ridge leads inside the 2,000 metres with Navajo Peak striding to second. And the favourite gets leaders back, Just Fine. Travelling in third. A length and a half further back, we've got a line of 3. Benno the Rouse from Wineglass Bay, and Major Beale is cast a bit deep at this point. Further back to Cleveland, who's 3 horses out. On the outside of Carla Poor, then came Manzois, Torrens on a wide path. Further back to Alabir from Bois de Jean, Ho Khan Military Mission. Good gap back to Mr. Waterville, taking a while to get into his rhythm back last of all. So Spirit Ridge leads at the 1400, a length on Major Beale, and Navajo Peak now third. A length further back to Just Fine, the odds-on favourite into a clear fourth, still over towards the inside, 2 lengths away to Wineglass Bay. Then came the grey Benno on the rails, 2 lengths further back to Cleveland, who slipped in now, 1 off the fence around Carla Poor. Further back in the field then to Torrens from Alabir, Manzois, Military Mission, Ho Khan, Bois de Jean, and last of all is Mr. Waterville, is really tacked on now. There'd be about 15 lengths covering the Metrop field down the side. Spirit Ridge leads at the 800 metres, a half length now. Major Beale, Just Fine pushes through into a clear third in advance of Navajo Peak. 2 lengths then to Benno from Wineglass Bay. Torrens off the track now. Mr. Waterfield is set alike going right around the field as they race inside the 600 metres. Spirit Ridge a half in front to Major Beale. Just Fine is locked up at the moment in third, followed then by deeper out Cleveland pulling out from Mr. Waterville. He's hit a flat spot. Military Mission wide out. The favourites out now. Spirit Ridge in front, and here's Just Fine going to it quickly, and Just Fine moves up on the outside of Spirit Ridge, and they're well clear from the rest. Just Fine and Spirit Ridge inside the 200 metres in a real good stoush here. Spirit Ridge showing plenty of fight. Rachel King driving hard on Just Fine. The favourite ahead in front, Just Fine. Spirit Ridge really trying to come back. Just Fine, a brave Metropolitan win. Wanted to head to Spirit Ridge, they gap the rest. Carla Poor third, followed by Benno, Cleveland, Bois de Jean, Military Mission, then Ho Khan. Further back to Torrens, Alabir, Wineglass Bay, then Manzois from Navajo Peak, Major Beale, and Mr. Waterville.
History's been created here at Randwick today. It's the Golden Girls. Kathy O'Hara in the Epsom. Rachel King in the Metropolitan. They've won Group 1s together. The punters are cheering here at Randwick. The odds-on favourite backed as if unbeatable. Just Fine. And look who's congratulating. Rachel King, the first to do it. Kathy O'Hara, who's just won the Epsom. Well, Just Fine has created an unbelievable impression here in Australia. He's 3 from 3, and he's won the Metrop, Ronnie, with guts and determination.
Well, he needed every bit of that guts and determination. You're sitting there curling the mow as they turned for home, and it got hairier and hairier and hairier for the thrill seekers, and into a $1.60 across the board there on the totes late, and was only a bob of the head. That's as far as he wants to go, but job done, and it is a day for the Golden Girls. And Spirit Ridge, wow, boy, didn't he give a fight there and made a real race of it.
What a ride. That was one of the best Group 1 rides I've seen. Rachel King, she could have been tempted after his last couple of wins, and he's been getting sort of out in front and high-balling, especially early into the straight, but she just took her time, let him gather up momentum. Yeah, absolute 10 out of 10.
I just want to see that moment again when Kathy gives Rachel the knuckles as they pull up over there near the back straight. So it has been a day for the girls, and we don't believe this has ever happened where 2 females have ridden a Group 1 winner each on the same program. Ahead the winning margin, 226.11, 36.3. Ahead the winning margin. And yet another feature for Gay and Adrian. I kept on telling you that this is their day. Well, Gay Waterhouse makes it 9 Metropolitans. Yes, that's right, 9 wins in this race. But Adrian, congratulations on your first with a wonderful stayer.
Yeah, he's fantastic. You know, great to see. It was a spectacular finish. Had a real fight on his hands today. So really proud of him to fight the way in which he did. And they've just run time hearing that. So full credit to the second horse. He wouldn't lie down, and I was partly worried up the straight, but he dug very deep.
They've broken the track record.
Yeah, so they've gone out good speed, good tempo, and there was a few question marks over whether he could say that sort of trip today. No doubt the weight had helped, but to be running track records, there's got to be pressure on from the outset. So he's been able to answer that today.
And normally when they run track records, they're doing it all day, but this is a one-off.
Yeah, certainly. And this performance isn't in isolation with him either. He's had the 3 runs in Australia now and been very, very impressive in each of them, and to get to a Group 1 very, very quickly in such a short time here in Australia has certainly been very impressive.
What was your first impression of him?
He's always stood out for us early days. He showed tremendous speed, more so than most Europeans had coming here. But as I said, how quickly he's progressed through the grades has probably taken me a bit by surprise.
Yeah, and everyone questioned his 2,400 metre form. It hadn't happened for him over there, but he's just a different horse, surely.
A different horse here. He seems to be thriving under the conditions. Physically, he looks great. He's done very well. Look, no doubt came here today thinking they would like to make it a test. If anyone sort of thought there was going to be a chink in his armour, that would be the question that needed to be answered. So we're expecting a strong test, and Rachel was sort of able to keep her nerve and sort of ride a lovely measured race on him.
Well, I'm trying to delve into a bit of history here. I know Gay would have done it many times, but how many Group 1 doubles for Adrian Bott?
No, I'm not sure. That's hopefully the first.
Yeah, of many.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it's been a great day.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Well done. Adrian Bott. Well, I couldn't count how many times Gay has trained multiple Group 1 winners on a program, but for Adrian, certainly it could be the first day. But certainly no 2 girls have done it on the one day, Corey.
It's an amazing effort, like for 2 girls to be riding Group 1 winners on a meeting like this. It is. It's a job well done.
And Kathy O'Hara.